Hey there, and welcome to this Explainer. Today we're tackling one of the absolute most powerful concepts in science and logic, causality. Every single day we're bombarded by these flashy headlines claiming that doing X is going to result in Y. But how do we actually interpret those claims rigorously? Well, by the end of our time together today, you're going to have a rock-solid mental framework to evaluate the world and its data like a true investigator.
So I want to start off by throwing this question directly over to you. How do you identify what actually caused an effect? Really think about it for a second. If you say change a daily habit and suddenly you feel a lot better, how do you know for sure it was that specific habit that did it? It's so easy to just assume, but actually proving it, that's a completely different ballgame. I want you to kind of test your own assumptions as we walk through the evidence today.
Part 1. The Quest for Causality, Tracing the Roots of Scientific Proof.
Now, you might be wondering, why are we even on this quest to begin with? Well, because if we can definitively prove what causes an effect, we unlock this incredible ability to predict it, influence it, and really deeply understand our world. And to do this, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We get to rely on a super rich intellectual history. The philosopher David Hume, along with John Stuart Mill, actually laid out the foundational criteria for causation centuries ago. And get this, those exact criteria still form the bedrock of our scientific methodology today.
Okay, let's dive right into this toolkit with Part 2, 4 Criteria of Causation.
Here is your high-level roadmap. To actually prove causality, 4 essential criteria absolutely must be met. Number 1, the cause and effect must be connected. 2, the cause has to precede the effect. 3, they need to occur together consistently. And 4, alternative explanations absolutely must be ruled out. If even one of these pillars falls, the whole claim of causality just comes crashing down.
Let's look a bit closer at that first criterion, connected. There has to be a tangible way to literally trace the effect back to the cause. They need to be in close physical or logical proximity. For example, if a patient is never actually exposed to a specific virus, you simply cannot argue that the virus caused their illness, right? That connection is literally the very first breadcrumb in our investigation.
And that builds directly into criterion 2, precedes. The cause must happen before the effect in time. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Well, obviously. But trust me, in complex research, timelines can get incredibly muddy. You have to be able to strictly prove that the timeline flows on a one-way street, from the cause directly into the effect.
Which brings us to criterion 3, often called covariation. Cause and effect must occur together consistently. Basically, they covary. When the cause is present, you should see the effect. When the cause is absent, the effect should disappear. Plus, if you sort of turn up the dial on the cause, making it stronger, you should see a correspondingly stronger effect. It's like they're locked in a dance together.
Part 3. Case Study Time, Cats and Depression. Let's see this in action.
I absolutely love this part because we actually get to apply those abstract tools to a real-world scenario. So here's our hypothesis. Loneliness causes feelings of depression. To test this, our solution is to give a group of lonely, depressed people a cat to take care of. By doing this, we're aiming to eliminate their loneliness. If our hypothesis holds up, taking away that cause, the loneliness, should logically lead to a decrease in the effect, which is the depression.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing covariation and temporal precedence actually in action. On the left, we've got a comparison group of lonely, depressed folks who do not get a cat. The cause, a decrease in loneliness, is absent, so their depression remains unchanged. But on the right, our treatment group gets the cat. We controlled the timeline here. We introduce the cause, their loneliness drops, and subsequently their depression drops. So they're connected, the timeline works, and they covary. Case closed, right?
Part 4, Ruling Out Alternative Explanations. This is the hardest criterion to prove.
Yeah, not so fast. This is exactly where the plot twists. And honestly, it's where most scientific claims stumble hard. We have to stop and ask ourselves, was it actually the decrease in loneliness that lowered the depression? I really want to challenge you here to look beyond that obvious connection. Think critically, like a true investigator. What else changed in that person's life the exact moment we handed them a cat? Look at this completely valid alternative explanation. Taking care of a cat requires getting up to feed it, cleaning the litter box, playing with it. It requires a pretty big jump in physical activity. So, what if that increased physical activity is actually what caused the lower depression rather than the reduction in loneliness? A totally hidden variable just hijacked our assumed cause and effect relationship.
So this brings up an absolutely crucial concept called internal validity. Basically, this is the extent to which a study establishes a genuinely trustworthy cause and effect relationship. And those alternative explanations we just talked about, they are direct threats to internal validity. Good research methodology is almost entirely about developing and choosing designs that actively minimize and block these exact threats.
Part 5. Correlation does not mean causation. The golden rule. Let's move to the real climax of our explainer. To cement just how critical this is, consider this sequence. Step 1, we observe children playing violent video games. Step 2, we observe those exact same children exhibiting aggressive behavior. They consistently happen together, right? They covary. It is incredibly tempting and seemingly super obvious to state that the game caused the aggressive behavior.
And this brilliantly illustrates why jumping to that conclusion is so dangerous. For instance, we could be looking at a reversed causal direction. Perhaps aggressive children just naturally seek out more aggressive stimuli. The aggression caused the game playing, not the other way around. Or hey, we could be looking at a third variable altogether, an unsupervised environment. Parents who allow violent games might just provide less supervision overall, making kids feel less inhibited to act out. See? Two completely valid alternative explanations that totally destroy that initial assumption.
This brings us to the central takeaway of this entire explainer. I really want you to burn this into your memory. Causation requires correlation. For a cause and effect to be true, they absolutely must occur together consistently. But, and this is a massive but, merely correlating does not imply causation. Just because two things happen together does not mean one caused the other. You literally have to put it through that entire 4-part toolkit to know for sure.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. How will this framework change the way you read tomorrow's news headlines? The next time an article pops up claiming, eating this one food cures that, I really hope you pull out your mental toolkit. Are they truly connected? Does the timeline actually work? Do they consistently covary? And most importantly, did they genuinely rule out all alternative explanations? I promise you, once you start looking at information this way, the world becomes a much clearer and far more fascinating place. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember to keep questioning everything.